Hello and welcome to Hexed Encountered. My name's Joe. It's November with the Emperor, and we're continuing our playthrough of our game of the month, which is Dan Verson Games' Field Commander Napoleon. We will be doing a playthrough of the 1798 campaign, which is the second campaign in the game. This is the Egyptian adventure. The first campaign, 1796, was played in 3 previous videos. They are on the channel if you would like to check them out. I will throw up a card. For that, I'm not going to do a whole lot of preamble on this video, just want to get right into it, essentially. So we have our 1798 setup here. Our scale for our units is divisions. Supply points, France has 3, the enemy has 5. Our forces are here in Alexandria, us being the French. We have Napoleon, Desai, Rainier, Kleber, Menu, Bond, Dumas, Caffarelli, and Gitas here in Alexandria. The enemy has, the Mamelukes have some units here in Cairo, 4 units under Murad, 1 Karaim, 1 Cairo. The British have a unit, Abercrombie, up there in Accra. There will be some reinforcements arriving in October of 1798. The French will get Nautique here in Alexandria. The Ottomans will get some reinforcements once the French reach Jaffa. And starting in May of 1799, you're going to start to roll for when 6 additional Ottoman forces arrive. So we will be, and they will arrive here in Alexandria, meaning there'll be a battle there. Once they arrive, the French will lose automatically if they don't hold Alexandria at the end of any turn. Victory. We're going to play through all the turns. We get victory points based on how many French forces survive, and if we can hold Accra, that would be worth 15 additional victory points. There are some special rules here that I'll mention as we play. I don't want to go over them initially. I just kind of want to really get right into it. So the first thing we do is we advance our turn counter. We go to July of 1798. Then we do our moves. So because we need to hold Alexandria, ideally, I wouldn't want to move everybody, but in this case, yeah, I think what I'm going to do is I'm not going to move Desai or Rainier. I'm going to leave them here in Alexandria for now. The reason being, every time you move somebody, you roll a die. And if it's here under harsh conditions, if you move any forces during your move step, roll a die. If the roll is equal to or less than the number of French forces you moved, inflict 1 hit to any of the moved forces, any one of the moved forces. And if you do a forced march, you roll twice. So that's basically because we're in the desert, I assume. So we have here, I believe, 6 units. They're going to move to Cairo because we're going to have a battle here. So we're going to put our little battle marker in Cairo. I'm going to roll a die here and hope to roll a 7, 8, 9, or 10. And we rolled a 6. So we're going to take a hit, and I'm going to apply it to my weakest unit, which is Caffarelli. So here you see Caffarelli. He's a 6/2. We're going to reduce him. He'll be 4/1. And now we're going to move over to the battle map. Okay, so we're on the battle map. I brought the forces over, they're not deployed. First thing we have to do is roll for Fog of War, which is on this chart right here. We roll a 3. They have 5 supply points, so they get a +2 on the roll, and it costs them 2 supply points, so they're down to 3. So that 3 becomes a 5, and a 5 means we only have 2 turns, which is terrible. You move Napoleon to this battle from another area. We don't have any other area, so the only effect is that it's 2 battle turns and it costs them 2 supply points. So that's the 2 turns is an issue. It means that we're not going to probably resolve this fight here. I do not have a scout, so I cannot buy a reroll. So we're going to move on to the envelopment check. I can tell you right now, you need 3-1 for envelopment. We don't have a 3-1 in terms of forces, so I'm not even going to bother with that. Determine battle plan quantities. Napoleon's present. He gives us 2. The enemy get 2 according to the scenario rules, the campaign rules for this particular campaign. Buy additional French battle plans. So I can buy a battle plan for 2 supply points. I am not going to do that. Select insight counters. I can trade one of these for an insight counter. I am also not going to do that. This is going to be a quick and dirty fight. Probably not a whole lot will happen here, and then we're going to have to get to this withdrawal and figure out what happens at that point. I'm hoping to get a 3 to 5, which would be an enemy retreat, because I don't think we're going to, there's no way we're going to knock these guys out in 2 turns. It's just not going to happen. Place French forces. So Napoleon goes in his box here in the corner. I'm going to put my cavalry up here, both of them with 2 infantry units, and then the other 2, let's swap these guys out. Let's do like that, a little slightly stronger. So that's my deployment. Everybody's in line, I mean column, which means that they are easier to activate for marching. Now the enemy, they're oops, I got these backwards. Fortification goes in the back, garrison goes in the approach, and I'm just going to lay these out. So they will get these 3 in this row, and these 3 in the back, because you can only have 4 units in there. Okay, so select and place French battle plans. So I'm going to do a cavalry charge with Dumas, and I'll do a formation so that I can move, change the formation of up to 3 of my units. So now we draw the enemy battle plans. We get officers. All enemies get +3 on activation, so they're going to get an easier activation for all their units this turn. And then Cairo gets aimed. If line no roll, well, he's not in line. He's also not going to be able to use this because they're not in range of, like, we would have to have units here for him to be able to hit them. So we start our turn. I'll roll for the garrison. If it's actually, I don't even need to bother because they can't move. So we'll start here with Cairo. He gets a +3 on his roll, needs a 6, gets a 10, so that didn't even matter. Murat needs a 6, gets a 9, so that didn't help. And then this Murat needs an 8, gets a 6. So by default, they get an advance here. Now we'll try these guys. This guy needs an 8, gets a 2, so he gets to move up. The other 2 can't do anything because they're blocked. Now I'll roll for the fortification. Anything less than a 7. It is a 7. So he can now fire. And he rolled a 7, so there is no hit. So that is the end of their activation. That goes back. Now we'll do ours. We'll roll for Dumas first. He needs an 8. Gets a 2, so his activation is good. So he gets to advance 2. Shock -3. That means he's automatically shocked because he's got a 3. So he would get reduced and have to retreat. Now, because this one is full, I think he has to retreat again. Yeah, it says if the region already contains its maximum number of units, which is 4, this unit is destroyed. Now he gets to attack. So he has an 8/4. Rolls a 5, so that's 1 hit. Gets applied to the weakest unit, which I think is this cavalry unit. 3/2. Although maybe it's actually this guy. It's actually this guy. So that's a reduction for him. So now he's done. We can put this back. Now we'll roll for Kleber to advance or march. If column no roll, so he just gets to go. He gets to go, and they get to move up. He's in column, so he can move up. He's in column, so he can move up. Now we'll use our formation, and we'll put him into line, so he's less vulnerable to a shock attack. And I don't think I'm going to do anything else. I'm just going to do the 1. So that'll be the end of that turn. We go to turn 1. For them to get there, I don't even think it's possible because these guys by themselves are 9. So So we go back to the top. We've advanced our battle turn. Inside activation, don't have any. Select and place French battle plans. We're going to do actually the same thing I just did. We're going to have a formation, and we're going to put a charge on Gitas. Now we draw for them. We get forward. We get wedge. Okay, if column, no roll, so he gets to advance 1, which will cause a shock check. He needs an 8 or less to pass it. Gets a 2, so that's fine. Now he turns to line and attacks, and he'll have a 4/1 because of the +3 from melee. 8, so too high, no damage there. So that is the end of that. And now this guy needs a 3, gets a 5, does not activate. He needs a 5, gets a 10, does not activate. Oh wait, column. Oh, he does have to activate because it doesn't say he doesn't. So now we'll try, well, let's try the garrison. Needs a 5, gets a 6, so nothing. Now he needs a 3, gets a 5, he needs a 3, gets a 4, he needs a 4, gets a 3, so he is firing, and gets a 2, so that's going to be a hit. So the fortification attacks the closest non-melee combat. So that would be this one. So we'll do, I guess, Bon. It doesn't really matter, they're the same. These two are the same. Yeah, they're exactly the same. So that's a little disappointing, but it is what it is. So we'll do Dumas first. He's in melee, so he gets he's going to get 1 hit. So this guy's going to be destroyed. It doesn't even matter what I roll here. It's a 3. That would have been 2 hits anyway, so he's destroyed. Now we'll do Gitas. He's a 10, so I also don't have to roll to activate him. He's going to go here. That's his first advance. Then here, shock -3, which means these guys can't pass the shock test. I'll roll it anyway. Well, yeah, they can't pass. So this one gets reduced, which means he's eliminated. And now he can do an attack. So he's got a 6/3, but that becomes a 9/5 since they're in melee. He gets a 3, that's 2 hits. That will destroy this guy as well. So that's the end of that. Now we will advance. So he's in column. We don't have to roll. Move up, move up, move up, move up. Do the formation. Turn him this way. And I think I'll turn both these guys. Well, I don't need to because they can't advance. Well, they do have that. So we do our route check now. They've got 3, 5, 9, 14. We've got 6, 10, 17, 25, 31, 32. So that's not going to get her done. So now we go to the withdrawal stage here. So we have our withdrawal chart here in the corner. A 1 or 2 is rejoin, which means we just kind of start over. 3 to 5 enemy retreat, 6 to 8 French retreat, 9, 10 encamp, which means they just kind of stay in the same spot. It's a 4. A 4 is an enemy retreat. So what that means is the enemy retreats, we take Cairo, and they will have to roll for where they retreat to. So Dominetta will be 1 through 3, Kati will be 4 to 6, and Bitter Lake will be 7 to 9, 10 will re-roll. It's a 5, so that's Kati. So I'm going to move these guys here. So as you can see, I screwed this up. They were in Cairo. That's only connected to these two or Alexandria. I don't think they can retreat to an enemy-held area. So I rolled a 5. We'll say odd even, so they'll go here, which keeps them adjacent to Alexandria. And so now we have the opportunity. Oh, I need to put Napoleon back with these guys right here. We would have the opportunity to attack them again via forced march. I don't think I'm going to do that, though. So we're just going to move on. We're not going to do a forced march. We're going to go to French resupply. Our resupply rules here: gain 1 supply point for each French-held city. We hold 2. We have 3, so that's going to give us a total of 5. One of the actions I can do is do a refit. So I'm going to do that. I have 2 reduced armies in here. 2 reduced units. I'm going to flip them both, which is going to cost me 4. Flip them both to full strength. That costs me 4, leaving me with 1. 1 supply point left. And we're going to move on. It's now the enemy's turn. So we do enemy orders. So we roll for forces. Now the British forces up here in Accra, they can't move until the French are adjacent. So that they're basically, I'm not going to roll for them. Accra, enemy forces never move out of Accra. Do not roll resupply for Accra unless there's a French force within one area. So I was correct. So we're only rolling for this guy right here. Got a 5. Now, if 1 to 2 supply points, they have 3. So 3 to 5, plus 2 on rolls, minus 2 supply points. So that's going to leave them with 1 supply point. And their 5 becomes a 7. So 7 is French-held objective. So we've got a 50-50 chance here between these two because these are both objectives. They're both held by the French. So I guess that means they attack here or here. So we'll roll, we'll do 50, one odd will be Alexandria, even will be Cairo. Oops. Even, so it's Cairo. So I was correct, they're going to come after Cairo anyway. They're going to attack, which was why I didn't want to, take the casualty risk basically. So we're going to move them in. We're going to move to the battle board. We only have the 1 battle to resolve. It's going to be here in Cairo again. I didn't move that out of there, but I guess I didn't need to. And then we'll come back and do enemy resupply, which will just be rolling for any cities they hold. Potentially Cairo, but extremely unlikely. El Arish, Gaza, Jaffa. So we'll be rolling on 3. We don't roll resupply on Accra until the French get close. Okay, we're back. We're going to roll for Fog of War. It's a 4. They have 1 supply point, so they're not going to get a DRM here. So 4 is a 3-turn battle. And you pay 2 supply points to add any 1 French recruit to 1 French occupied area. I only have 1 supply point, so I cannot do that. So we're just going to start the fight here. We'll put Napoleon in his box. Envelopment check. We might have it this time. They only have 5, 6, 13, 20. Yeah, we've got it. So they're basically done. They're done, and that battle was a non-battle. I didn't even think about that, but yeah, envelopment, they're done. So we'll move back to our main board here. Okay, back on the main board. They actually have only Abercrombie's the only enemy force left on the board at the moment. So we're going to do our roll for resupply here. So this is pretty straightforward. For resupply for the enemy, we roll for each enemy held city, and then depending on what we get, that determines what they end up with. All right, so let's roll for El Arish. 3, 1 reinforcement and 1 supply point. So they go to 2, and they get a reinforcement. Pull it out of the cup, and it is a recruit. He goes there. Now we'll roll for Gaza. And that's a 2, which is 1 garrison and 1 supply point. So their supply point goes up to 3. And they get a garrison for Gaza. So Gaza now has 2 garrisons. Now we roll for Jaffa. 10. 2 reinforcements. And they get, they actually scored this time. They get 2 Murad units here. So they've got actual fighting units again. And so that ends their enemy resupply. So we're going to head back up to the top and start turn 2. Which is the August 1798 turn. All right, we are ready to start turn 2. So I think the first thing I'm going to do here is we will move these guys 1 space to Bitter Lake. And again, this is 6 units. So we have to do our die roll. We got a 9, so that means they don't lose a step. Okay, next, I'm going to take the Sai and I'm going to move him here. And I'm going to roll again, looking for anything but a 1. We rolled a 2, so that's good. We can only move 1. Now we would resolve battles, but we don't have any battles to resolve. So now comes something a little dicey here. Now I'm going to, I think, take a couple of these guys and move them. I'll take Guidus, Napoleon. We'll take Kleber. And we'll take these 3 and Napoleon and force march them to El Arish. So now we need to roll again, and this time we have to roll. If you moved any forces during forced march, roll twice. So we roll a 7, which is good, because we only need to roll a 3 or less, and a 9. So lucked out. We have a battle to fight now. So we have a battle to fight. So we're gonna head up to the battle map here. Okay, so we'll put our boys here. They have a garrison, a fortification, and a recruit. So their total strength is a 10. And the French have, well, I should have moved 1 more unit. Now, as it is, I'm going to have to fight them. So we're going to fight them. Because we have 7 and 7 is 14, that's 20, so that's only 2 times. So we're going to roll for Fog of War. We rolled a 3. They have 3 supply points, so they don't get a die roll modifier. So we gain a scout, which is awesome. And we get our scout. We'll put him here. Oh, I didn't show the roll. I just realized there's the roll. And it's a 4-turn battle. And we'll put this here so we can see going forward. Both sides have 2. The envelopment check, we know 1, 6, 10. They have 10. We have, as I mentioned, 20. So no envelopment. So what we'll do now is we're not going to buy additional battle plans. I'm not going to buy insight. We're just going to place our forces. Place their forces. I like it better like this, I think. Doesn't really matter. It's an aesthetic thing, maybe. Anyway. All right, so 4 turns. Select and draw, select French battle plan. So I'm going to do what I usually do here, and we're going to do a charge. And we're going to do a formation. That's kind of my standard here. Move these guys up. Depending on what happens here, we may put them in column. All right, so now we draw for these guys. They only get 1 because they can't use 2. And they get wedge, which is column, advance, attack. So he does have to roll for activation, so he's going to need a 2. And he gets a 5, so no activation there. The garrison needs a 5, gets a 4, but again, they can't fire, so I probably shouldn't have even rolled it. All right, so we'll roll for the fortification. He needs a 4, gets a 6, no activation. All right, so now we will do our advance. They can attack, so he'll attack right here. So he needs a 6 or gets a 5, so that's 1 hit. That's the weaker of the 2 units, so it gets applied there. Like, oh wait, they don't have a thing on the other side, so he's actually killed. Then I'll move these guys up. They're in column, so they don't have to roll. And I'll use the activation's a 10. I'm going to put him, I guess it doesn't matter. They can't take a shock check now. So that's going to be the end of that turn. We move on to the next turn. We have a route check now. They have 9. We have still 14, 20. So still not. If I can knock this guy out, that would put them at 4. Then I would have enough, assuming I don't take casualties to actually do it. So we go back to the top and select and place French battle plans. So let's see. We're going to do our prepare, and we will use that with flank on Claver. So these two will go together. Now they don't actually get a battle plan because neither of these can use it. So we get to go first based on this. So he gets, if column, no roll, so he's in column. He's going to advance, then advance again. Now I don't think shock applies to a garrison, if I remember correctly. Maybe it does. I guess it does, actually. So he's going to get a -3, so he needs to roll a 2. He rolled a 10. So that's going to reduce him and make him retreat, I think. And then he gets to attack. He'll get to attack. So put this back. Rolled a 1, so that will kill the garrison. I think I played that right. I'm not 100% sure if garrisons are subject to shock. I don't see that it's not. All right, so we're just going to say that he's reduced because we rolled the 1, so that would make him, that would put him in that position anyway. So now they get to go. They need a 3. They get an 8. They need a 4. They get a 10. We'll move Gitas up. He'll attack because we're in melee. I think he can attack. Maybe not. We'll leave him here and have him fire, I guess. Rolled a 4. That's 1 hit, so that'll kill the garrison. And now Bond can move up. Doesn't have to roll. It's just march. And now the fortification is actually the fortification's done. So that moves us to this turn. And he has a 4. We have 7, 14, 20. That's enough for the route check. So they're done. We win the battle. And these guys get to return to the main board. Okay, back on the main board. They now have El Arish as well. So we have 3 cities now. We do go to the resupply stage, so we get 3 supply, which gives us a total of 4. And this time, because we're not yet in October, once October comes, you have the Battle of the Nile here. During October 1798 and until the end of the campaign, you cannot purchase forces during the resupply step. But right now I can. Except I don't have enough to buy garrisons. So I'm going to buy 2 recruits. With my 4, I'm buying this one and this one. They both cost 2. And we will place them. I'm going to place 1 in Cairo and 1 in Alexandria. Actually, I'm going to place them both in Alexandria. I take it back. So that leaves me with no supply. Now we go to the enemy. So we have enemy orders. They have units here. So we have to roll for that. So let's put this here. We'll roll 7. They have 3 supply points, so they get a +2, which makes it a 9, which is advance, and they're left with 1 supply point. 1 supply point. Advance. They move towards the closest French force, so they're going to move to Gaza. Okay, and that's all they're doing because, again, we don't move Abercrombie. So we don't have any battles to resolve. We go to enemy resupply. So they're going to roll for 2, Gaza and Jaffa. So we'll do Gaza first. Rolled a 10, and a 10, as we know from before, is 2 reinforcements. So we'll pull 2 reinforcements out. And we get 2 recruits. A recruit infantry and a recruit cannon artillery. We'll put them here with these guys in Gaza. And then we'll roll for Jaffa. And they get a 1. So 1 is a garrison and 1 supply point. So they get a garrison and their supply point becomes a 2. So they have 2 garrisons here now. All right. That ends their turn. We go to the October 1798 turn. All right, so I cannot purchase forces anymore. I can still do refits though, but I can't purchase forces. Okay, so moving on to the next thing, we're back up at the top. We advance the turn counter, we do our moves. So we will be sending these guys, and I left Napoleon on the battle map accidentally. He's here, he's gonna move here with those guys. I'm going to move, well, let me roll for that first. They have 3. Rolled a 4, so they're okay. These 3 are going to move here. And we'll roll again. Rolled a 10, so that's fine. I think I'm going to leave Desai here. Because once we get to March 1799, we're going to have units coming in here from the Ottomans. And I'll move Desai in to help with Rainier and the garrison and my recruits there to defend Alexandria. Plus, by holding this, by leaving him there, I can hold the, I can get my 1 supply point. So we have a battle to resolve here. Okay, so as usual, we roll for Fog of War. They have 2 supply points, so they don't get a bonus. They rolled a 2, which is 3, and I gain 2 supply points. 2 supply points. So that's handy. All right, let me move my units here. Battle plan quantities, 2 and 2. We're not buying any. We're not buying any insight. We're going to place our French forces. Napoleon goes in his box. And then we have these 2 and our... And we place their forces. Select and place French battle plans. All right, we're going to go with our usual. I'm going to send those guys up, and I'm going to use a formation. Now we'll draw for them. They get 2. We get a forward, and we get an aimed. They go first. These guys can't do anything because there's nobody in range. We go to here. If column, no roll, so they don't have to roll. They go advance. They go to line. They would attack, but there's nobody to attack. So they're done. Now we'll try to activate him. Don't do it. They have to do it because they're not in line. They get a 9, so they don't activate either. And now we'll do this recruit cannon. He got a 6, so no. And the fortification. Got a 4, so he does get to fire. So he'll be firing down here. And he got a 10, so no damage. All right. So our charge. 1. He's got a 10, so I don't need to roll. 1, 2. So advance, advance. Now shock -3, so he's going to automatically get shocked because he has a 3. I'll roll it anyway, but it doesn't matter. He gets reduced and has to retreat. Then he can attack. Rolled a 9, so nothing on the attack. So now we'll do advance. They're in line, so they can do, or in column, so they can do an advance. No roll needed. This goes away. Then we're going to change him to line. And that's it. That's it. And that leaves us with 2 turns left. We'll go back to the top. The route check, I don't even need to count it up. We know the situation here. We're going to give him a volley order. Kleber a flank order. Then we'll draw for the enemy. We get closing and aimed. All right, so this one's useful for them now. So now they can fire. So we'll start with the first one. He gets a 3 and a 4. Shoot. Well, that sucks. Lost Gletus. All right, well, we don't have to roll for the second one because he can't fire. So now we can do this one. If infantry, no roll, column, advance, attack. So he needs a 2. Gets a 6, so no damage. This guy needs a 3. Gets a 7. He needs a 2 because he's not in line. Gets a 1, so he activates. But there's nobody in range, so he can't shoot anyway. All right, so now he can advance. Now, he doesn't get the shock modifier, because I was thinking we were going to advance into here. So, but he does have to roll a 2 or less to avoid being shocked, and he does not, so he's eliminated anyway. And then I think he advances again. And this time he gets the -3 shock. And I guess that would be on our recruit here. And he had a 1, so they don't have anything on the back there, so he's going to get eliminated. Then we attack, presumably this guy right here. He needs a 7 or less, gets a 3. That's cavalry, so he's eliminated. Now we can... Did I not roll these guys? I didn't roll those guys, did I? I had it in my head that we were done. So let me roll for these 2. We'll start with the fortification. He rolled a 10. Now we'll do the cannon. He rolled a 7, so it doesn't matter. So that's done. Now we can move him up 1 and stop. And that leaves us at turn 1. 14, 18, and 14. So, all right. Select our battle plans. Do a volley, and we'll do a flank. And for them, they get melee. I'm not sure if that actually works for... I don't think that actually works for them, so I guess they just use a basic order. Or I could have... I guess since they have 2, I can pull another one. This time I got assault, which again, I don't think that works for a cannon. So, all right, so let's roll to see if he gets activated. He does. So he fires here, and it's not a hit. Then we'll do this guy. He also fires. It's also not a hit. So now this guy will fire Kleber here. He's got an attack with a +4. We do have to roll. Got a 3, so that roll's good. Now we need, it's going to be a hit. So basically it's going to be a hit no matter what I roll. Even a 10, because the 7 + 4 is 11, so one of these guys gets reduced. This goes away. Then we have here, he gets to advance. So advance. I'm not sure about the shock with the garrisons because they're not allowed to move. So do they just take a hit? Or maybe they just don't get shock at all. So I'm going to play it that they just don't get shock, I guess. We're going to roll the attack. He needs a 7 or less. Gets a 7. So I think we have to reduce the other one. I think, well, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe not. Because he's already weaker, so that would be that way. So that was actually the last turn. And they have 9 strength points, actually 13 strength points left. We have 14. So we advance to the last thing here. We have to roll for our withdrawal check. We roll a 5, which is an enemy retreat. So again, these 2 guys will get removed. And the recruit will have to retreat. And since they were in El Arish, they can retreat to either... there's 3 places they could go to: Cartier, Bitter Lake, or Gaza. So again, we'll do 1 to 3 for Cartier, 4 to 6 for Bitter Lake, and 7 to 9 for Gaza. It's a 9, so they go to Gaza, which is the one they probably should go to be honest. Actually, I'm sorry. I totally screwed that up. Should have been... They really can only retreat to Jaffa. They can't retreat to... El Arish. They were in Gaza, so I screwed that up. So they go to Jaffa. Back on the main map. We've now taken Gaza here. We'll put a little eagle on there to mark that we have taken that city as well. So we could do a forced march now, and I think I actually am going to. I'm going to take... Dumas and Minot here. We're going to leave Caffarelli and El Arish. These 2 will go to Gaza here, so I need to roll a 2 or higher than a 2. Put this here so you can see. Rolled a 10. Now we have to roll twice. And we rolled a 5 the second time. So that... allows me to move these 2 guys up to join their friends here, since we're going to be moving into Jaffa next, and when we do that, they're going to get their reinforcements. When French forces enter Jaffa, Jazar, Aleppo, Damascus, Jaffa, and Jerusalem are going to appear here in Mount Tabor. So that's coming up, but in the meantime now, they have... 1 force to roll for, because we got to do French resupply, sorry. French resupply, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 held cities now, so that's going to give us a total of 6. Well, since I don't have any reduced forces, and I can't buy reinforcements, I would love to be able to buy Gitas back, because I do have just enough to actually purchase him, but I'm not allowed to because we've reached... October, and the Battle of the Nile means that the British now have command of the sea, and the French can't do any reinforcements. And as I said, I can't refit. Nobody's reduced, so we have to carry on with what we've got. So the only thing I can really spend my supply on at this point is in battle to buy battle plans, or I can buy a scout. So I already have 1 scout, but I'm going to buy a second. Yes, I'm going to buy a second scout counter. Put that up there. That costs me 2, leaving me with 4. And now we'll go to the enemy's orders. So now that I have 2 scouts, I can re-roll their orders if I don't like them. And so we're going to roll here. Let me push my sleeve up. So we're going to roll here for our artillery unit. And he gets a 9. And a 9, and they have two supply, so he's going to spend it, and he's going to get a +1, so that 9 becomes a 10. And it says French held objective ×2. So unfortunately, this is going to actually result in him being destroyed by envelopment, because he's a 4, and we have 7, 14, 28, which is way more than 3 times 4. So he's going to actually be destroyed by envelopment because of this, but I'm going to roll for the Fog of War anyway. I'm just not going to do it on the battle map because there's really no need to. So we'll just roll for that right now. It's a 6. They don't have any modifiers, and a 6 would be you may move 1 mobile French force to this battle. So if I wanted to, I could actually move Caffarelli in too, but I don't want to. So there's not going to be a battle, but he is going to be eliminated. So now we'll just roll for Jaffa for the resupply. And we get a 9. And a 9 is advance. I'm sorry. A 9 is 2 reinforcements. So they get 2 infantry. And they've got a bunch of fortifications as well. Well, 2 garrisons and 1 fortification, plus the plus these guys. So they've got a little bit of punch here for next turn. They're going to need it. So that's going to be the end of the turn. We're going to move to December 1798, which is the 4th turn. There are 10 turns in this, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 left. Yeah, there are 11 turns total. So I think what we're going to do here is I'm going to wrap this video up, and we will pick this up with part 2 starting in December 1798. When we get to March of 1799, we're going to have to start rolling for the Ottoman forces to arrive in Alexandria. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, which will probably take place perhaps in the 3rd part. This is probably going to be a 3-parter only because there's 11 turns to go through. We've done 3, so I'm probably going to, I was thinking 3, 4, 4, just to kind of, because the turn should get a little bit shorter as we move up the map. So far things are going pretty well. I've lost 1 unit, but in general I feel like we're handling things well. The key is to get through the whole thing with our forces mostly intact, and if we can capture Accra, even better, but we have to make it all the way through the whole battle. So that's going to do it for now. Thank you as always for watching. Please consider liking, sharing, and or subscribing. If you are a subscriber, thank you very much for your support. It is greatly appreciated. But yeah, that will do it for now. So look for part 2 coming up in the not too distant future. But for now, I'm Joe. This has been Hexed Encountered, and until next time, happy gaming.